165 ballistic missiles, 2 cruise missiles and 541 drones. The UK Foreign Office...
We could see and hear missiles going overhead and they were being shot down. Some of the debris was literally falling around, well, not on us, but it fell into the fountain, into the hotel. And so it was pretty scary.
All day long, the sky has been alight with explosions. This footage posted on social media seems to show an Iranian drone hitting a residential block. A man with a British accent posted this.
No joking, guys, we have just been hit by a drone. We heard it coming. It stinks of oil in here. I didn't even finish my cup of tea.
The United Arab Emirates said its military has so far dealt with 165 ballistic missiles, 2 cruise missiles and 541 drones. The UK Foreign Office is advising against travelling to a dozen countries across the region.
If you booked directly with the airline and your flight's been cancelled, then check with them about your rebooking options and, if need be, a refund. If you booked accommodation separately, then check, and you haven't been able to use it, then check with your insurance company to see if they'll cover it. If you booked a package holiday, check with the tour operator. If your holiday's been cancelled, they'll allow you to rebook, even potentially to a different destination, or if not, give you a full refund. And if you are overseas at the moment, it's incredibly important that you register with the Foreign Office. They have that. You can do that online. It's called Register Your Presence, so they know where you are.
Dubai has grown in recent years to become the third most visited city in the world, attracting celebrities and influencers, some posting updates as these attacks unfolded.
We came to Dubai to feel safe.
Tourism has ground to a halt, fears too about the oil industry, with tankers coming under attack in the nearby Strait of Hormuz. If that dries up too, the effects of this conflict will spread far beyond these shores. Mark Ashdown, BBC News.
Paul Charles is founder and CEO of the PC agency that specialises in travel. He's been speaking to my colleague Sally Bundock about the ramifications the cancellations are having.
Yes, it's not just in the Middle East that we're seeing the impact of this directly, but also around the world, of course, for those travellers who are on airlines such as Qatar Airways or Emirates trying to get to the Middle East. Indeed, at Sao Paulo Airport yesterday, I saw 2 Qatar Airways planes still on the ground there because they can't fly to the Middle East at the moment due to airspace closures, and queues of people who obviously are looking for alternatives. And that's the impact it's having on the global aviation chain at the moment. Flights are entirely full via other countries because the passengers who were due to go to the Middle East have to reroute via somewhere else in order to find safe haven.
And this could take some time, couldn't it? I mean, obviously, Dubai International Airport is still closed at the moment, as are other key airports. I mean, that's the busiest in the world, isn't it, that airport?
Yes, Dubai carried some 97 million passengers last year, and so do Doha and Abu Dhabi in terms of increasing the number of passengers. Nearly 4,000 flights were cancelled yesterday into the Middle East. That equates to something like 2 million passengers. So if you look at the impact, some 2 million people who were due to fly into the region and around the region who are not doing that, that is a sizable impact, not just on the Middle East as a whole, but also on global aviation in terms of lost passengers, crews out of place, aircraft out of place, cargo that is not in the belly of the aircraft, that's not going into the Middle East or out of the Middle East. So you can see the implications there.
Just telling us there, the travel disruptions across the Middle East. Iran has carried out strikes across the region. US warplanes have crashed in Kuwait. We'll be bringing you all the latest from across the region. Stay with us here on BBC News. Let's talk now to our chief political correspondent, Henry Zethman. Henry, this is such a fine line for the UK to tread. I mean, Sir Keir Starmer himself talked about the mistake of Iraq. I wonder what your assessment is in terms of how the UK government is responding to what's happening in the Middle East.
Well, it's clear that their position developed over the course of the weekend, and the government is saying this morning that was in response to the fast developing pace of what is happening in the region. I mean, you heard there from Yvette Cooper under questioning from Nick Robinson what I think is the crucial distinction that the government is going to come under pressure to defend over the course of today, where there'll probably be a statement in the House of Commons from a senior minister, perhaps the Prime Minister, and then going forwards, which is that distinction that they are seeking to draw between the defensive operations that they are now willing for the US to carry out using UK bases and the offensive operations which they declined a US request to use those UK bases for in the run-up to this action. So Yvette Cooper there very clearly saying that what they have agreed with the US is that they can strike targets which would degrade the Iranian missile launching capability, as distinct from what the US was wanting to use UK bases to do, which was be part of that initial volley of strikes, which, as we saw over the weekend, included targeted strikes on very senior and including the most senior figures in the Iranian leadership.
Just, what can the UK actually do here? I mean, does the UK really have any sort of real leverage in this conflict or any sort of influence?
Well, that's a very good question. I mean, are strategically useful to the US, and so the UK has made a choice to allow them to use them for those specific purposes. I mean, more generally, if the UK wanted to, and there are no signs of this, the UK could use some of its own military capability, some of its own missiles, some of its own forces. That does not seem to me at this stage likely, though of course let's see how things develop. And then there are other ways in which certainly some people on the left of the political spectrum, including within the Labour Party here, would argue that the UK could have an influence, which is by criticising what the US has done. There are certainly some in Keir Starmer's party. We heard it from John McDonnell, the former Shadow Chancellor, this morning, very much on the left of the party. And I think we'll hear similar from the Green Party and perhaps even from the Liberal Democrats, who would say, well, the UK can have an influence by saying no to the US, by condemning them. On the other side of the spectrum, you have the Conservatives and Reform UK, I think, urging the UK to go further and deploy some of its own forces. So I do think it is going to be quite interesting, even if it sounds a bit parochial and probably is in the broader context. It is going to be quite interesting to see how